What is good, Internet? It is Spirit of Paradox here, and welcome back to another video. Today we are continuing the Ultimates with issue number 6, Ultimate Giant Man versus Ultimate Wasp. And this issue is quite controversial if you guys have read this one. So if you guys are new to this series, make sure you guys watch the issue number 1 to issue number 5 of the Ultimates video that I have uploaded to make sure you guys are up to date with the breakdowns that we've been doing with each issue. If you guys have been enjoying the content, you guys know the deal. Make sure you drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and let's start the video. We begin directly after the events of issue number 5 of the Ultimates, where the Hulk went on his infamous rampage and killed hundreds of people. We see helicopters going in and out of the area, bringing in any people who were injured in the event or even killed. We are in the Triskelion, the base of operations of the Ultimates, and we see doctors and nurses attending to the injured. In the next page we see Ultimate Nick Fury and Betty Ross enter the Triskelion, and we see them walk past all of these people who were injured in the Hulk's rampage. They both go into an elevator and have a moment of silence before Betty kinda just comes out and admits her guilt and says to him, "You know, there's a little part of me that feels a tad responsible for all of this, General." "You are responsible for this, Bay. You treated Bruce Banner like dirt, so Hulk had to come out." "You weren't the one pushing over buildings, Betty." "No, but the way I've been treating Bruce, talking to him like dirt, flirting with Freddie Prinze, I really feel like I was the one who pushed him over the edge. Now when I see him locked up in this holding unit he designed, doped up to the eyeballs and trying to recover from all of those broken bones he picked up as the Hulk, I'm just staggered that someone could think that someone could want me so much that he'd do this to himself." And as we see a fully knocked out Bruce Banner, it's kind of flattering, isn't it? Yeah, well, my big question is how you and your PR people can spin this debacle into something that doesn't make the Ultimates look like a gaggle of retards, honey. Oh, come on now, Nick. That's easy. Just hush up the Bruce Banner connection, and all of your little super people here go down in history as the heroes who saved Manhattan, of course. In the next page, we go to the aftermath of the Hulk's rampage, after 800 people had died. We see that some of the surviving civilians go to the wreckage and start cheering for the heroes. And the news even asks them questions. And Captain America gets asked, "How am I feeling?" "Well, my ribs are cracked, my nose is broken, and my left arm seems to be dislocated. But it's nothing which shouldn't fix itself up in a day or two, Mom." And Iron Man says, "Was I scared fighting the Hulk? To tell you the truth, I was shaking like a leaf, my dear. If it wasn't for the fact I was downed in a few glasses of old Dutch Shiraz at a wine tasting evening, I honestly would have thought I would have called in sick." And even Thor gets to speak on the news as well, and he has a very different viewpoint towards the Ultimates. "No, helping the Ultimates does not mean I'm suddenly one of Bush's little super commandos, Mr. Stern. By that logic, wouldn't stopping to help an advertising executive with a flat tire mean you've automatically joined the Projector and Gamble?" No idea what that means. Ultimate Wasp even gets to speak too. "Oh, don't worry about Giant Man, Oprah. I'm delighted to say husband of mine is going to be just fine. In a few weeks before he can do another height manipulation, but I think his ego took more of a beating than anything else back there. And as we see, a giant knocked out, well, Giant Man. It was well deserved, because Ultimate Giant Man's a dick in this universe. Next, we go to the Triskelion with Ultimate Nick Fury. Breakfast with Reggie's, lunch with FHM, and a private dinner at Tony Stark's place tonight? Sounds to me like somebody's been wanting to play celebrity since she's been playing with her Barbie dolls, Mrs. Pym. To be honest, it's just nice having an excuse to get dressed up again, Nick. All Hank and I usually do on a Friday night is rent a movie and eat takeout. You really think Thor's gonna show up for a black-tie dinner at the house of the world's richest man? I don't see why not. Apparently, Tony and Thor really hit it off after the whole Hulk thing, General. Cap said they were standing around having a laugh for nearly an hour and a half. Weird. What do you mean? Banner and I spent 6 months trying to get Thor to join our team, and the one thing we never thought of doing was inviting him for dinner. That's a good point, actually. So, we go to Tony Stark's place next, and Steve Rogers and Thor turn up, dressed in their regular attire, and are greeted by Tony, as he says, "You know, I really can't tell you how fabulous it is to see you boys again. That fight with the Hulk a few weeks back was one of the most exhilarating experiences of my life." Have you watched the Shield tapes yet? Did you see the part where Cap drops a tank on him? Or where I'm hammering Banner into Grand Central Station? My god, no wonder why they've sold 15 million copies of the DVD. It's spectacular. Cap asks a very good question. You think people will still be shelling out their cash if they knew the Hulk was really Bruce Banner Stark? Oh, don't be such a spoilsport, Cap. Okay, so public relations people glossed over a few details, but we saved the city, didn't we? All people want to hear is that they can sleep soundly under their down comforters again, old boy. Do you really want to kill that feel-good factor over a tiny technicality? No, but I do want to register the fact that I'm not really amused by this Stark. Point noted, Mr. Rogers, point noted. What are all of these boxes for, Tony? Are you moving house? Oh no, absolutely not, Thor. I bought this place for my dear old mother with my very first million I ever made, my friend. I wouldn't sell it for all of the tea in China. I'm just in the middle of a decluttering exercise. It's a concept I read about in an in-flight magazine, where you throw out things you don't actually use as a means of a spring cleaning of the subconscious mind. You wouldn't believe the crap you accumulate when you're a booze-friendly billionaire. Picasso's, G.I. Joe, World War, memorabilia, Captain America trading cards. And Captain's surprised. He's like, they made trading cards about me? All gone to charity now, I'm afraid. I think they gave them away with the Faberge eggs and the vintage Playboys, if I'm not mistaken. And Jarvis comes out of nowhere and says, "Just a shame you couldn't bear part with your late mother's old evening wear when you were taking part in this ex-Scrabble New Age nonsense. Eh, Master Tony?" Oh god, here we go again. I thought this was your night off anyway, Jarvis. Aren't you supposed to be going to a club tonight with Alfred and all of those other old degenerates? Oh, I cancelled the moment I heard who we were entertaining, Master Tony. Even the club couldn't compete with a super soldier and an Asgardian god. You're wasting your time, you know, Jarvis? Do you seriously think Captain America and Thor have even noticed that preposterous waistcoat of yours? Give it time, young sir. Give it time. I'm feeling jolly lucky this evening, you know, as he pours out a glass of wine for Captain America. Next, we go to Hank and Janet Pym's place. Oh, for God's sake, Hank. I thought you said you weren't going to work tonight. You know you're always spaced out and grumpy if you stay out in the lab this close to a night out. To be honest, I'm just going to skip this thing at Stark's place, Janet. I told Fury I'm gonna meet with him later in the week to talk about the Ant-Man helmet, and I really want to finish it up. Come on, Hank. I'd hardly call that an emergency. If you're trying to make up for the way the things panned out against the Hulk, you're just being silly. You were amazing back there, sweetheart, and really brave. Ugh. Don't patronize me, Jan. God, why do you always do that when you know it drives me absolutely nuts? Aren't you at least going to tell me I'm looking nice? You don't want me to tell you what you look like. Are you a push-up bra and high heels for Roger's benefit, or for Stark's, by the way? Don't be horrible. Well, what do you expect? There's a picture of you with your tongue down Captain America's throat in every newspaper around the world. You've turned me into a laughing stock. He wouldn't be flirting with you if you knew what you really were. I'll tell you that for nothing. And what's that supposed to mean? Oh, let's see. Asian, 5'3", a fricking molecule fricking biologist, a mutant idiot. I wonder if he'd still have the hots for you if he saw you eating caterpillars and beetles, or hiding in your little larval nest with all the mutant hysteria going on a while back. Do you think he'd find you so special and pretty if he were waking up every 6 weeks to find eggs in their beds? Because that's what I've had to deal with, Jan, and your personal hygiene makes me sick to the stomach sometimes. And Janet claps back at him and tells him, I didn't see you complaining when you took credit for all of these powers and got that big shield paycheck, Hank. I didn't see you complaining when you used my blood samples to jumpstart your stupid Giant Man formula. What are you implying, you little witch? Oh, you're such a polymath, aren't you? It's not enough that you're a cybertronics expert, but you have to be the world authority on supergenetics too now, right? Well, let's see how many super soldiers you create which didn't involve getting big or getting small, or telling ants what to do through a helmet, jackass. Bruce Banner was twice the gentleman you'll ever be, and you know it, mister. And then Hank Pym straight up slaps his wife across the jaw. And then he realizes what he's done and is like, oh no, I'm sorry baby, let me help. But Janet ain't having it. She's like, no, get your hands off me. And then she elbows him in the nose or in the mouth even, and then picks up the radio and smacks him over the head with it. Like, damn. Talk about toxic relationships, bruh. By the way, no, I don't condone any of this, bruh. If you two know you're gonna fight, leave the area. Don't even bother each other. Go burn a spliff in 2 different rooms and wait for each other to calm down and then talk afterwards. But yeah, this situation could have been avoided with a good spliff. But anyway, a spliff is tobacco and weed for those who you don't know. Next, we return to the heroes at Tony's place having dinner. So, what's with all this Son of Odin stuff anyway, Thor? Are you really a genuine article, or just a big scary man with a hammer? Oh, very much a genuine article, Tony. I've known who I was since I was 12 years old, but it wasn't until my nervous breakdown that everything became clear to me. I am a god made man, the living incarnation of the Norse deity, sent here by my father in Valhalla to purify the earth again. And Steve asks, you think we need to be purified? And that could really give Steve some PTSD because he come fresh out of World War II. Take a look around you, Captain. Your world is being bled dry, while your people grow dull-eyed and hypnotized by reality TV and PlayStation 2. I'm here to wake you all up again before mankind sleepwalks their way into oblivion. And Tony asks, don't you think joining the Ultimates could provide a useful platform to get that message out there, Thor? No. Joining the Ultimates would be condoning every reprehensible action taken by the wretched military-industrial complex who pay your wages, Tony. I'm not interested in the money, the glossy magazines, or the shallow superstar lifestyle you've been offered to risk your lives for. A corrupting ruling class, gentlemen. That said, you know I'm always a phone call away if there's a genuine problem which threatens people's lives. Great, says Steve. Hmm? What do you mean by that, Captain? This way, you get a free soldier. And they all have a little chuckle about it. We go back to Hank and Janet Pym's toxic relationship, and we see they're still fighting. Janet takes a bite out of, bites his arm, not takes a bite out, but bites his arm. He slaps her, and then he's like, why do you always start this crap when you know you'll always come off worst? And then she shouts to him, drop dead. Hey, come on now, no superpowers, as she decides to shrink in size into a wasp form. And then she says who, as she uses her stingers on her husband. And he's like, ow, ow, ow. It basically makes him fall over the chair. But then he draws out for the bug spray. And now this is straight up unforgivable in my eyes. And he damn well knows she's got the abilities of a genuine insect. And he pulls out the bug spray. Hank decides to use the bug spray on his wife at full blast, saying, oh yes. And then he's like, how does that feel, Jan? Is that your skin burning? I bet it feels like napalm or something. And then she basically goes on the retreat. And he tells her, like, hey, where are you going? Get back here and finish what you started. Don't think I can't get to you just because you're hiding under a big heavy desk. I'm a really smart guy, remember? And then he looks at his Ant-Man helmet. And this is the part where it gets super dark. Hank uses his helmet to control a herd of ants to go after his wife, as she pleads, Hank, you're out of your mind. Stop this now before it goes any further. I'm sorry, okay? I was just being stupid. I realize I should have never have started this. But Hank responds, excuse me? Does anybody hear a funny little voice that sounds like Jimmy Cricket with a mouthful of helium? And his wife shouts his name, Hank, as all of the ants are crawling all over her and biting her. And then we get this ominous look on Hank's face as he says, you shouldn't have made me look small, Jan. You shouldn't have made me look small. And damn, like that's just unforgivable in my eyes. Next, we go back to the dinner. So what about you, Tony? Why did you decide to get involved in this madness? Does a membership in the superhero team qualify you for some kind of corporate tax dodge? Unfortunately not, Thor. And Steve adds, personally, I think it's got something to do with girls. Is that what your angle is here, Tony? Is this Iron Man thing all just some big scam to impress dames? No, no, not this time, I'm afraid, Cap. So, what is it? You really want to know? Okay. I've got a brain tumor, boys, about the size of a golf ball, right here in the back of my head, and the doctors seem to think it's inoperable. And Thor and Steve were kinda shocked by this revelation. Is this a joke? Is this one of your ironic things I never seem to get? How long do you have, Tony? Asks Thor. Anywhere between 6 months and 5 years, according to specialists. Hence why I'm giving all of my things to charity. Hence why risking my life every day. Hence trying to make the world a better place. And so on and so on. I'm sorry to drop it like that on you, but it's okay, we asked. Well, that seems to have killed the atmosphere stone dead. Jarvis, could you please pop up a pin of an embarrassing silence and bring me a gift I found for Captain America? What? What are you doing buying me presents, Stark? Oh, it's just one of those crazy old collectibles I've been getting rid of, Rogers. I'm sure it would look better in your humble home than it could ever have did here. And then Steve gets given a box and he opens it up. What do you think? And then we find out it's Captain America's old World War II helmet. Where did you get this? A fat middle-aged woman called Ellen Kowalski. She told me her father bought it from home, the war, and it once belonged to the bravest man he ever knew. Oh my god. I don't know what to say. Well, say you'll join me in a toast, Steve. Toasts are always fun, mainly because they're usually followed up with copious amounts of alcohol. It's your home and your glasses, Tony. To whom are we toasting? To absent friends by the look of it. To Hank and Janet and poor little Bruce Banner, gentlemen. Without whom, I think it's safe to say the three of us wouldn't be standing here this evening. And then they all have a toast. But they did say Hank and Janet Pym. So I wonder what's happened with them. Oh my god, Jan. What have I done? And then we find out the aftermath of the fight between Hank and Janet Pym has led to his lab being completely trashed, the ants all over the place, and we are completely unaware of her status. And that is the end of issue number 6 of the Ultimates. So that was Ultimates issue number 6, Giant Man vs. the Wasp. And yeah, we did definitely get that, but it was just a lot more dark and a lot more, like, miserable. So yes, there was some DA in this comic book. I did actually read this as a kid, but as a kid, I never really, like, processed the full weight on what was going on with these two characters until, like, recently. So I'm talking, not recently, about 10 years ago. About, like, when Secret Wars 2015 was happening, I reread this, and I was just like, damn. I enjoyed this as a kid, but now that I deep it, nah, I don't really like this issue very much. Not because of the topics or what was going on in it, it's just, there's not really much going on. Like, we see the heroes having dinner, getting to know each other better. That is something I really did like about this issue, when we see the three, Tony, Steve, and Thor having dinner. That was really great to see that happen. But a lot of it just gets overshadowed by that relationship. So you guys gotta let me know what you guys think in the comments in it. So is this comic redeemable, or because of what happens, is it not redeemable? You know what to do in the comments below. Make sure you drop a like if you enjoyed the content and subscribe if you are new. We've also got Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk continuing. We've also got a new video based on the new Ultimates that's coming up very soon. And we've also got the next issue of the new Ultimates X-Men or Black Panther this week. And I've also got a toy review coming up soon. So stay tuned for all of that, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.